Imagine being the greatest genius of your time, standing on a tower with wings strapped to your back, ready to soar like a bird. What happens next changes everything we know about human flight. Stay with me, because this story proves that sometimes our most significant failures teach us more than our successes ever could. January 3rd, 1496, Florence, Italy. Leonardo da Vinci stands at the edge of a tower, wearing a contraption of wood, leather, and fabric that he's spent months designing. He's 44 years old, and he's about to test his greatest obsession: human flight. For years, Leonardo has studied birds with an intensity that borders on obsession. He watches how they angle their wings, how they catch the wind, how they seem to dance with invisible forces. In his notebooks, he writes, "A bird is an instrument working according to mathematical law." If flight follows mathematical laws, Leonardo reasons, then humans can fly too. We need the right design, the right machine, the right moment. His flying machine looks like giant bat wings attached to a wooden frame. The pilot lies horizontally, pumping pedals with their feet and pulling levers with their hands, mimicking the motion of a bird's wings. In theory, it's brilliant. In practice, well, that's what January 3rd reveals. Leonardo takes his position. His assistants step back. The city stretches below him, unaware that history hangs in the balance. He launches himself forward. The machine's wings begin to flap, and for one glorious second, anything seems possible. Then gravity reminds everyone who's in charge. Leonardo doesn't soar. He doesn't glide. He plummets, the machine failing to generate any meaningful lift. His assistants rush forward as he crashes, thankfully without serious injury, but with his dreams temporarily grounded. But here's where Leonardo's genius truly shines. Most people would have given up, humiliated. Instead, Leonardo observes. He learns. He writes in his notebook a revelation that changes everything. A man with wings large enough and duly attached might learn to overcome the resistance of the air and, conquering it, succeed in rising into the air. Then comes the crucial insight. But the man does not have enough power in himself to be able to jump high enough to propel his machine. There it is, the fundamental problem. Human muscle power alone can't generate the force needed for flight. It's not a design flaw, it's a physics limitation. This failure on January 3rd, 1496, becomes one of history's most productive mistakes. Leonardo doesn't abandon flight, he reimagines it. He begins designing machines that use external power sources. He studies aerodynamics more deeply. He documents wind resistance, air pressure, and wing shapes with unprecedented detail. Maria Chen, an aerospace engineer from MIT, explains it this way. Leonardo's failure was actually a breakthrough. He identified the core challenge of human flight 400 years before the Wright brothers solved it with an engine. Without his documentation of what doesn't work, later inventors would have wasted years repeating his mistakes. Today, Leonardo's flying machine notebooks sit in museums around the world. Engineers and designers still study them, not because they show successful flight, but because they show brilliant problem solving. They show someone willing to fail publicly in pursuit of understanding. In 2019, a team of engineers in England actually built Leonardo's design using modern materials. You know what happened? It still didn't fly, but that wasn't the point. The point was to understand how Leonardo thought, how he approached impossible problems, and how he turned failure into knowledge. Think about your own life for a moment. How many ideas have you abandoned after one failure? How many dreams have you grounded because the first attempt didn't soar? Leonardo's crash on January 3rd, 1496, teaches us that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the foundation of it. Every time his wings failed to lift him, he learned something new about air, about force, about the relationship between power and weight. So here's what that cold January morning in Florence really gave us. It permitted us to fail forward. It showed us that genius isn't about being right the first time. It's about being curious enough to try, humble enough to learn, and brave enough to document your failures so others can build on them. And next time you're standing at the edge of your own tower, ready to test your wings, remember Leonardo. He didn't fly that day, but his willingness to fall gave humanity the knowledge we needed to soar eventually. Leonardo's courage to fail reminds us that our stories of struggle matter just as much as our triumphs. Think about the lessons you've learned from your own failures. The business that didn't work but taught you resilience. The relationship that ended but showed you what you truly value. The dream you attempted led you somewhere even better. These aren't just setbacks. They're the chapters your family needs to hear. What wisdom have you gained from falling and getting back up? Your grandchildren won't just want to know about your victories. They'll need to know how you handled defeat, how you found courage to try again, how you turned your crashes into lessons. When you share your story of when you tried and failed but learned something invaluable, you allow them to be imperfect. You give them the courage to spread their own wings. Write these stories down. Record the moment you realized failure wasn't fatal. Preserve the wisdom that only comes from trying the impossible. Because Leonardo's notebook survived 500 years, and your story deserves the same chance to inspire someone centuries from now, or simply your great-grandchild next Tuesday. History Sparks celebrates the courage it takes to try something bold, even when the outcome is uncertain. If you're ready to preserve your own moments of bravery, the attempts that taught you more than your successes, subscribe to our channel. Join a community that knows failure is just another word for learning. Hit that notification bell and let's keep discovering that our most human moments, the ones where we fall and rise again, are the ones that matter most. Your story of resilience is waiting to be told.